again, friends. So in this video, I am going to talk about another part of every story, and that is something called the setting. So setting is this middle picture and word right here, and this is a picture of kind of a town or city street, and that is because setting is where and when the story takes place. So, whenever you hear that word setting, I want you to think where and when. So, let's talk about where first. The word where means a place, a location that this story is happening in. So, for example, stories could happen at beaches, in the woods, in the mountains, in a certain country or city, in someone's home, at school, in a park. These are all places, and these are types of settings. So, setting is a place that the story is happening. Setting also refers to when the story takes place. So, when I say when, I'm referring to a moment in time. Maybe it's the morning, the afternoon, the nighttime. Maybe it's a moment during the year, like fall, winter, spring, or summer. Maybe it is a moment in the future. Maybe it's a moment from the past. So the setting could be any place, but also the time that the characters are doing something in this place. So I'm going to go back into Epic, and I am going to go through a story briefly just to kind of talk through some things we can ask ourselves as we are reading to try and figure out what the setting is. So first, sometimes titles will tell us about the setting. For example, this book, At the Aquarium. I know the aquarium is a place, and if it's in the title, it's probably very important. So I'm thinking that this story is probably has a setting at the aquarium. So first, when you're thinking about what the setting is, you can always use the pictures if it is a picture book. For example, I see a sun. I know that this story is happening during the day, probably in the morning or afternoon, but definitely not at night. So, for one, I know the when of this story is during the day. And then I'm going to use the text. We're going to an aquarium. That gives me a clue that the characters in this book are going to wind up at the aquarium, and most of the story will probably be about what they do at this aquarium. So I'm going to keep flipping. They're on their way, and then I see the aquarium in my images, in my illustrations, my pictures. Then I keep going, and I see fish, and I'm reading that they are inside, looking at all the different things. And that tells me as the reader that these characters, these children, these group of friends, they're in an aquarium. And so my setting for this story would be in an aquarium during the day. So whenever you are reading through stories or listening to stories, always try to think to yourself, where and when is this story happening? Because most of the time, the setting, that gives us some clues and some details that are really important for understanding and remembering what happens in the story and ultimately learning from the story. So, whenever you read, think about the where and when, think about the setting of the book.